Hey y'all, it's Danielle from Black Business Boom and Booming University. I'm excited to have an amazing conversation. I know it's going to be a great conversation today with Sharon Hurt, who is running for Davidson County Clerk. And I am honored to be serving as her treasurer for this campaign, something that's really new for me. She called me and I took the call and I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I am honored to serve and honored to have this conversation. And so we're having this conversation to learn more about her campaign, more about the things that she's going to do when she's elected to Davidson County Clerk. How are you, Sharon?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. And I am just so peacock proud to have you as my treasurer. It means
Yes.
everything to me for you to have accepted my invitation.
Well, it means everything to me for you to trust me with such a responsibility. So, but I'm always willing to step up to the challenge. And
Right.
I know that you have done so much for the city already. And I just am proud to see you taking this on and proud to see what you're going to do when you get in office. So let's get into this conversation because, like I said, you have already done so much for the city of Nashville. When I first met you, you had Jump, and I was new to the city and learning about Jefferson Street and the businesses. Knew I wanted to do work in with the businesses in that area. And you've done work with Streetworks, so you really have a history in helping real people navigate real life challenges.
Right.
How does
Correct.
that experience prepare you to run for an office that really relies on, the accuracy of records and
You know,
licenses and all these things? Tell us a little bit about the experience that you had and how that has prepared you for this role.
well, I mean, if I talk about the experiences, I have to go back to being 11 years old when I was working in the office with my mother. She had a post office, a satellite post office inside of her real estate and her insurance business. And then I learned how to work and deal with the public. But also behind the building where my mother had an office was houses, and they were on stilts. Basically, they were shotgun houses, one way in basically and one way out. And there was a little girl there and that would come by my mother's office every day, and she was an unkempt kind of young lady. One day my mother brought her home to the house, and she cleaned her up, washed her hair, pressed it, and then she provided her with some new clothes. And my mother showed me on that day that I needed to take care of those individuals who may not have the same opportunities and privileges that I had. So it's in my DNA for me to take care of people, for me to do public service. And then I came to Tennessee State University. And of course, say enter to learn, go forth to serve. Think, work, and serve is what it is that we do and what we have done at Tennessee State. Now, recently, they said TSU was built to win because we won that OVC championship. And that
Mhm.
is absolutely true. So that is what got me started. Then I became involved with nonprofit leadership, got a master's degree from Belmont University, and was able to put those things that I had learned to work. I worked at Meharry Medical College and became director of admissions and records. So I've been in those roles where I serve people, different categories of people. Now, when you talk about those individuals that I talk and deal with every day, with Streetworks, those are some people that other people may not want to deal with, but they have cars. They may start their own business. They get married. They may become notaries. All of the services that are provided in that office is for everyday people. And those are the people that I serve. I serve all people. It's not just one category. So,
Mhm.
being that I learned at a very early age not to judge anyone, but to do everything that I possibly can to make them have a better experience once they leave me. That's what my goal is each and every day. You're better when you leave me than you were before you came before me.
I love it. Now, first of all, I need to stop talking about this jacket you got on because I watched a full screen and was like, oh no, I need that jacket. That is super cute. I'm gonna need the details on that.
This is my St. Patrick's Day celebration because I don't have much green in my closet. Okay,
And the funny thing is that I have almost nothing but green in my closet, and it's St. Patrick's Day, and I got on all black. So who would have thought?
right.
Anyway, that was off topic, but I was like, that jacket is nice.
Thank
But
you.
moving on to talk a little bit about access and equity, which you touched on. You
Yes.
know, the clerk's office really does act as the front door to government.
Right. Right.
Everybody, this is something that no matter how much money you have or don't have,
Right.
you got to deal with, when you
Follow
at
the
some
rules.
point in
Absolutely.
your life, right?
Absolutely.
And
If you
so
drive the
now,
car. Right.
exactly, you got a car, you have to, you can't avoid it.
Right.
No matter how much money you have, at some point you got to deal with the clerk's office, or maybe you got to send somebody, but indirectly you have to deal with them.
Correct.
And we are experiencing such a boom. We've been experiencing this boom for the last 10, 15 years. But what we've seen is that everybody's not seeing that boom, right? Everybody is doesn't have access to those equitable opportunities. Everybody doesn't have the same experience in dealing with government and with corporations, with housing, all those things in Nashville. So for those that are considered less fortunate, as Nashville continues to grow, how do you make sure in your role that everybody, even those underserved communities, can easily access services without barriers or the confusion that sometimes comes when they're navigating government offices?
Correct. So, first of all, let me just say that there are 5 satellite offices where people are able to go and get their tags renewed and get some of the services. Not all of the offices are full service office like the Howard Building, but there's an office in Hermitage, one in the South Nashville precinct. There's one in Green Hills. There's one in Madison, and then you got North Nashville precinct on 26th Fifth Avenue North. And of course, you have Howard School. Those, and then you have some kiosks that are situated around the entire city where you can get your tags renewed and submit those things online and they will mail them to you. So there are ways that it can happen, but not everyone knows that. So first of all, I will ensure that there is education, that every person knows what resources are available to them and what they can do in order to access those things. But further than that, one of the things I would like to do is have a mobile unit. That's something that we use at Streetworks, now today's Hope, for testing and provide individuals with the ability. We bring it to them. You can't get to me, we're going to come to you because we know how important it is for you to be tested. And I believe it's the same concept when it comes to getting your tags and getting the services that you need. You can't get to me, I'm going to make sure that I get to you. And that's what's necessary because I think every person deserves to have the same type of service delivery and be treated with the dignity regardless of their zip code, their socioeconomic status, or the color of their skin.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, I think that's something that I never even thought about. Is sometimes you got to meet the people physically, meet people
Absolutely.
where they are, right? We talk a lot about meeting people where they are, but everyone doesn't have the access to get to you. And transportation can be a challenge in Nashville. It can
Also,
be a challenge
yeah.
getting somewhere in during business hours when you're working a 9 to 5 and battling through the traffic.
Right, and
And
I also want to integrate maybe having some Saturdays, some off times where people are available, where we can take the mobile unit, can set up at community fairs, festivals, and different things where we know that there's going to be a planted. population of people, and make sure we are there. And if we're able to do that, perhaps we won't have our downtown office backed up and lines coming out the door, especially during the end of the month.
I love it. Yeah, we have to get innovative these days, and so that really brings me to my next question about kind of modernization. I see a lot of folks that are just stuck in 90s. I got today, I'm going to the doctor next week, a new doctor. Today I got a piece of mail with all the paperwork to fill out in the mail today. And I was like, I'm not doing that. You have to send me a link. You have to, I'm not about to fill out 5 pages of paperwork, right? And so there is a need. People are used to quicker service. They're used to, things happening much
Right,
faster. We want everything we want right now.
right,
But we also want things to be secure. We want them to be transparent. We want user friendliness. What's
absolutely.
your plan for beyond what you just told us and kind of meeting people where they are physically? What are your other thoughts and plans around modernizing services to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the constituents?
Well, they have good services that are available for them right now. They have a queuing system. It's kind of like when you go into the office and you get a number and they call you up. They do have that. What we want to do is optimize those services, maximize them, make sure that we streamline it, categorize it to a point where we can maximize the time that people have and eliminate any kind of waste, whether the time is wasting their time, our time, paper, whatever the case may be. We want to eliminate every type of waste that we can, maximize the time that we have, get people in the door and out the door as quick as we possibly can is what we want to do. There's also some software that we can use on the phone that can possibly help, and for those technologically inclined individuals, that would not be me. I do well texting. But for these young folk who I know that live this fast lifestyle, I want to make sure that we have state of the art technology and software apps and things that they can use where they don't even have to come into the office and they will be able to get those services done. Now, I
Mm.
promise you, I am learning. We also have kiosks that are available at different locations, as I mentioned earlier, where you might go to the library and you can get on the kiosk, renew your tags, all at the same visit. So make it easy, fast, accessible, and transparent, as you said. And all of it is still done in confidentiality.
And I will say that you talk about kind of your tech ability, but at the end of the day, really like because you are not this fast-paced tech, person, that makes you more relatable to those that are not as well.
Absolutely.
Because, those are the people that we need to definitely make sure that we're not going too fast and leaving some people behind because now we've implemented so much technology that our older population or those that are not as tech savvy or don't have access to fast speed internet, that they still have access as well. So I think
Absolutely.
it's important that we're progressing, but we're being mindful and not
And
leaving
not
people
leaving
behind.
anyone else behind. And you know what? I really kind of look at my life in that way. I'm originally from Memphis, but I've been here in Nashville and spent most of my time here. I live in Bellevue, but I work in North Nashville. So I see the tale of two cities in that. That's why I surround myself with young folk like you and Danny, Denise, and other people that are working with me, because I know if they're going to bring me up to speed, as well as me giving them some of the old school values that we have that give us the perfect balance that we need in order to be as good as we possibly can.
I love that. And that's so important. We learn so much from the older generation. And I mean it's information that you can't go Google.
As
There are things
I learned
that
from the younger generation, it is
absolutely.
it's a two-way street, kind of
It
like
is
love on
two-way.
a two-way street.
Absolutely, absolutely. Last question for you. When we look down the line and we're at the end of your first term, what do you want the residents of Nashville to be able to say is different about the clerk's office before you were in charge?
Well, I think the one thing that I want them to say is that things have been maximized, things have been streamlined, that we have integrated state of the art technology, that the staff is nice. The customer service that you receive, you love coming into the office and you don't dread coming in there because you think you're going to get in a long line or someone is having a bad day and going to treat you with some disrespect. They are not going to have that. They're going to have a bright and shiny day when they go into the clerk's office, and it's going to be a lovely day for them. And not only that, but they're going to get the services that they need, and they're going to be looking for that office for other things and finding it a place of resource. Anything that you want and need, if we don't have the answer, we're going to direct you to where you can get that answer. I want them to know that this is a trusted place for them. And not only that, but you will get that fast, accessible, transparent services.
I
And
love
any problems that they have already been mitigated by this caring staff that made you feel like you were the most important thing in their lives for that day.
I love it. And I think as a resident, that's what we want to feel like. Because many times you go in and the people act like you bothering them. Like, I just need to get my stuff renewed. Like, I
Exactly.
really don't want to have to be here today either.
You know, you
But
know, one thing I do want to say, Danielle, because it may look like it's an easy task. It may look like this job is it's about the slogans, be alert, vote hurt, you know, vote hurt for county clerk. All of that is fine. It's cute. I love it. It is jazzy. But this job does require someone with qualifications. It requires someone that has courage. Because, see, the taxes, we bring in a lot of money, and more money goes out than what stays there. We have a budget of about $7.6 million, but we generate more than $12.4 million. Money goes to the state as well as to the local government. It all doesn't stay right there in the clerk's office. And we have to have people that are going to be able to communicate and work with the state government as well as local government and do things that's going to be in the best interest of the people. And that is something that I don't play with. I am going to speak up and speak out on behalf of the people and not allow those unnecessary fees to come and hit the pockets of the people. It's already hard living in Nashville, it's so expensive. So we're going to make sure that we are always going to do things in a very lean way where there will be no need for extra expenses onto the people.
amazing. I love it. Exactly. You have that experience not only as a at-large council member, but your experience with Jump growing the budget from 50,000 to 800,000. These are things that really prove what your track record is in serving the people. So
I
I
didn't, that I'm really proud of that because I did the same thing at Streetworks. We went from a 1.2 budget to now we're almost a $3 million budget, and we doubled the staff, doubled the programs that we have, and as I said, the clerk's office has been running very efficiently, and I'm so grateful for that. So it's not that I look that I can go in there and just improve and do so much more than what's been done, but I can assure that we will continue to maintain the quality of service that is being done right now, as well as in if any way that we can make things better, that's going to be the call for every day that we wake up and go into the office.
I love it. Wonderful. Well, I am so glad that were able to get this scheduled and sit down and have this conversation. Got to make sure before we wrap up, especially as your treasurer for your campaign, that I really ask folks to support you as you go on this journey. We don't have long, and it takes money to run these campaigns. And so,
It's a split.
so I am absolutely dropping that link in the chat for anyone who wants to contribute whatever you have. $5, $10, whatever you can do to
Absolutely.
support this campaign will truly, truly be appreciated. If you want to learn more, we can get you more information. But I think, you have the track record and the reputation in Nashville, and you've said so much tonight that's going to help improve upon what's already happening. Like you said, there's already great things that are being happening, being streamlined in the clerk's office, but just to continue that work. And
Right.
we appreciate all of your service along
Well, I
the
thank
years.
you so very, very much because I do want people to know that if they got five on it, just go on and put it down. Or we can do a $5 holler, however they want to do it. And you'll be surprised, but $5 will actually buy a yard sign. And we
Okay.
canvassing, yes, $5 by a yard sign for us to be able to go out. And that's really a concept, that President Obama did, where he got $5 from everyday people.
Mm,
That's who I'm serving, the everyday people. Not all people, of course, but I'm not focusing on people that's got to make $60,000 a year and up. I want everyone to know that they are the same in my eyesight.
I love
Someone that I need to come into that office and I provide them with the very best service that we have to offer.
I love it. Wonderful. So excited again. I appreciate you so much for joining me, and I appreciate your trust in me as your treasurer. If you can support the campaign in any way, maybe that's not monetarily, maybe you can get out and volunteer, knock on some doors, put down some signs, let me know, and I'll make sure that I get you connected as well. But again, I dropped that link. If you got five on it, go ahead and hit the link and make a donation
I
today.
appreciate it. I mean, and then those that's got the 500, they can drop that too. You know,
That's it.
all of it makes it easier for us.
Yeah.
We do try to have a goal of collecting about $1,500, 1250 a day in order to meet our $10,000 a week goal because it takes that much in order for us to do what it takes. Campaigns are very expensive. That's one of the reasons why you don't see more African Americans in political campaigns because we don't have the funding sources that some of our other counterparts have. So we're unable to really run those races and run in big races to really win. So having $10,000 a week, and that's easy. We get 50 people to give $100,
Yeah.
50 people to give $50. That
Yeah.
takes us closer and closer to that goal. And that's exactly what we need. So I really thank you so
Yeah.
much for hosting me tonight. And if there are any other questions, I hope we can have a part two or part
Let's do it.
make sure that we answer the questions.
Let's do it. If you're tuned in right now and you have questions and we weren't able, I don't see any questions in the chat. So drop them and we'll do a part two and we'll make sure that we come back and we answer those questions for you. So looking forward to getting that part two on the calendar and looking forward to this win. Thanks so much again for joining me. And thanks.
I got that one message. Be alert, vote hurt.
All right. Thank you so much again for joining me. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great evening, and we'll see you at the polls.
All right. Thank you.